Welcome, everybody. We are back,
Yo.
episode 3 of the BBET Games Cast. It is I, Sigma, and I am here with Blue Bones.
That's your
boy.
And SupermanJeff 12.
What's going on?
And today we have a number of topics.
Yeah,
we have a number of topics.
Have you had Takis lately?
Takis.
They're disgusting.
There's some smaller topics and there's some actually really big, impactful ones. Even though it's been sort of a slow week in the gaming world, nerd world in general. But we're gonna start as we always do with what we've been playing. Jeff, actually, let me start with Blue. Actually, because I know what Jeff wants to talk about.
I was ready to have Jeff go first this time, but that's cool. Wargroove. We finished another mission on the last stream, and we went into a side mission. I don't know if you guys saw it. The very end of the side mission, I lost. And that
So did that start the whole thing over?
I had to start the whole thing over. Obviously, my stream time was done by that point, so I completed it off stream super fast because I kind of knew what to target and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
I'm excited for the next part of the story. It's funny because this story in Wargroove goes between whimsical and serious, like really quick. And so it's a fun ride. So I'm doing that. Jumped back on Titanfall 2 with
cool.
some friends. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Like multiplayer?
Doing that more at my leisure. What's that?
Like multiplayer specifically?
Yeah, I'm doing Frontier Defense, which is a PvE mode, Wave Horde mode, and it's a lot of fun. We're trying to go up in the difficulties right now. We're kind of barely making it through hard mode, so we're gonna try and do it a little bit better. But yeah, that might come up on my stream next week. We'll see.
Oh,
and obviously, you already know I'm wearing the Reaper shirt. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, right,
But
yeah.
you're not a Reaper main.
Oh, you need to stop. Stop. You know people listening, right?
I'm just saying. I'm just calling it how I see it, bro.
Because it's Overwatch's
bruh.
third anniversary right now.
Oh,
Third anniversary.
Right? Yeah, it's that event going on. So
Yeah. So
bunch of, like,
Overwatch
cool
Pro.
skins and stuff.
Yeah, there's some really good skins. Actually, there's like 3 really good skins. The rest of them are pretty terrible, in my opinion. But yeah, Free For All Fridays. We started that back up, and I'm pretty excited. We had a really good first run, a nice debut or re-debut, if you will, reopening.
hey,
Yeah,
gotta put a banner up.
I know, right?
And you can catch the replay of at least the last hour of that Free For All Friday on YouTube. So
That's right.
check that out.
Yeah.
I gotta check that out. See how that went.
Wins. Mm-hmm.
Anything
yeah,
else,
that's
Blue,
me.
you've been playing?
Let's see. I play a couple mobile games. I'm playing Idle Heroes, and I'm playing the Cartoon Network Match City, I think it's called, which is actually a lot of fun.
Say the name of that again. Max City. What?
Match.
Max City.
Yeah, it's called yeah, it's Cartoon Network Matchland. That's what it is.
Oh,
Okay.
So
See
mobile?
that?
Yeah, that's a different name.
No, I
Than
can't
kind
say
of what
that.
you
Yeah,
said.
it's not.
Never mind. Yeah,
Yeah,
it just
no,
been
sorry,
bad
Blair.
blurry. It's super cute. It's got all the popular characters and some of the underground characters from the Cartoon Network universe, and they're trying to have this whole like food truck festival, but you know, obviously something stops it, and so you have to.
That does sound cute, but also like
It is.
straight, like really hipsterish.
But it's
Shout out to We Bear Bears.
Right? Yeah.
I
that's
love
that's
We
exactly where my mind went first. It was We Bear Bears.
From that episode, right?
Right.
Yeah.
on my team. I got Steven from Steven Universe.
Cool.
I got Lumpy Space Princess. I have Ice Bear, and
the coolest.
I got
literally.
somebody else. He is the coolest.
He is.
I
He
got
is.
somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's a
Must not
fun
be
game.
that
It keeps
cool,
me entertained.
Is it one of those collector games where you roll for different characters?
Not necessarily. It's like you go through the different levels and you're matching, and you know,
So it's like a puzzle
Each-
game.
yeah, it's a puzzle matching game.
Oh,
And then you know, as many as many colors as you match up, each character is categorized in those specific colors, and they do damage to the enemies. After that, your rewards are tokens for specific characters, and then you could use the money that you get to level them up and different things like that. So there is a bit of randomness when it comes to some of your rewards, but at the end of the day, you can kind of really tailor your team to what you want. And I'm still kind of getting through some of the first levels, so yeah.
That sounds a little. I might be way off base, but Jeff, you probably remember this game. at least that Heroes of Might and Magic puzzle game.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
played
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Is it like that?
Yeah. It is.
Because I love that. That game legit kind of took hold of me when it came out on 360.
Yeah. It's basically that with a Cartoon Network theme.
I'm in. I'm gonna download that like
Give
as
it a
soon as
shot.
we're done.
It's
Because that
fun,
sounds
yeah.
fun as hell. Is there like multiplayer in it?
You don't know what
I
you
wish.
started.
I wish it did.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah,
I will
it's
check
cool.
that out.
Definitely do that.
I'll go next.
Whoa.
No, I mean you
no,
have the
you
bulk
said you
of this
fled.
No, I'm
conversation.
just playing. Just go.
So we're gonna-
Go.
But I've still been playing Sekiro, so I won't spend too much time on that. But I did beat Lady Butterfly. It was a hard fight.
Oh, she was supposed to be very difficult.
Yeah, like all I've heard is stories about how difficult she is. But it took about an hour of me just going back in that room over and over again.
I was watching that
And
stream
I
too.
finally bested her. And then immediately after that, ran into another mini boss who was instantly just destroying me. So this guy, like he's like he's like that typical samurai who like he holds the sword to his side and only draws to attack and then like puts the sword back. Like it's dope, but
He's super fast too, right?
Yeah, he's destroying me, and that's a fun fight that I'm looking forward to going back to. But other than that, I actually just finished my next review. It probably won't go up for a couple more days, but I do believe streamers, etc., are allowed to start showing it. So either way, it's gonna go up. I'm gonna talk about it. It's a game called Void Bastards. It's a first-person shooter with roguelite strategy elements and whatnot, and it has the dopest art style. It's like Borderlands, right? How it's
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What if Borderlands was even more cartoonish? Like kind of somewhere in between Wind Waker and Borderlands is kind of where Void Bastards sits. So it looks really good.
Probably thin outlines.
Yeah, like but it's literally like comic book based. Like the HUD has like white panels around it. Like text pops up with like kind of sound effect type things. And I feel like we talked about this maybe a little earlier, but there's a first-person shooter that came out on GameCube called 13 that was also cel-shaded.
Yes, yeah, we did talk about that.
It does that same thing where like you can see enemies through walls because it does the comic book sound effect of their steps.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's back.
Okay.
So it's like all these cool little details that just kind of feed into the style. Like it has good music. The gameplay is really smart. I really enjoyed it. So check out the review when that launches in a couple of
I'm
days.
excited to see that.
But I spent a lot of time playing that, and I really do like it. And it's coming to Game Pass. So
oh, really?
yeah. So whoever is subscribed to that will just get to download it. So another plus for Microsoft, in my opinion.
Yeah, they seem to be picking up a lot of indie games.
Right. So that's pretty much it for me. Jeff,
Big J.
The game you're playing actually rolls into our first topic. So you can kind of save that one for last.
And see, I'm going to need your help with this because I've been trying to play this game.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I know exactly what he's talking about.
I've been trying to play Dauntless. I was interested in Dauntless way back when. Right. It was kind of like, it was out on PC, played the beta. Reason why I played the beta was because Monster Hunter World was announced. It was coming out. So it was very Monster Hunter-esque.
Yeah.
And I was like...
essentially a clone.
I need to play that, yes. It looked like a more fast-paced... it looked to be a little bit deeper. I played the beta. The beta was fun. I always worried about... It is a free-to-play game, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I always worry about free-to-play games feeling free to play.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I know exactly.
And what I mean, which I'm sure both of you understand, is they lock a lot of stuff behind paywall. I played Heaven's Forge or Heaven.
Oh, Skyforge.
Skyforge. Yes. Oof. Hated it.
Yeah.
Now
it was a great concept.
PC, exactly. It was on PC. It was free. It wasn't free to play on PC at first. It was actually $60 game.
Yeah.
I was interested in it because the concept is cool. You're this demigod who is going to work to build up his power and protect all these people and whatnot. And the combat looked cool. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when I played it, I'm like, oh, it came to Xbox. Free to play. Let's play this. It felt like, here's these 2 powers. These other 12 you got to pay for. For monthly
or spend hours and hours and hours to unlock one of them.
That's how I felt about Warframe as well.
So
it was like free to play Destiny, where all the progression was mainly just locked behind you paying money or just unreasonable amounts of grinding.
I do not mind grinding. I don't mind it, but I want to be rewarded. I don't want to have to grind and then for like Warframe, either you pay X amount of dollars or silver, or you have to wait 3 days to craft this particular item that you've already spent a week farming for. Imagine that in Destiny. You farming for the Mythic class, and it drops the blueprint, and you got it. Boom. You've been trying to... I farmed the Mythic class for like 3 months.
Oh my goodness.
Athean was not trying to drop that for me. He just was not. I had so many of the same helmet, that chatter white shader.
Yeah.
Just kept dropping the same stuff. Finally, I got it. I was excited. All that time I spent in the raid and the Vault of Glass fighting Atheon was now worth it. Can you imagine me getting that item and then having to wait a week for it to be crafted?
Or you can pay for it.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
And who's not going to pay for it?
I mean,
if you spent all that time grinding, it's like, I'm going to pay. Now, Warframe has good mechanics, has good combat, but the biggest thing is the paywall. So back to Dauntless. Dauntless was, from what I got to play in the beta, it was fun. It was fun, but it did have that feel to it, like something was missing. And I was trying to play recently since it's free to play now, and it kept kicking me out. It just kept dropping, telling me I didn't have Xbox Gold. It made me question myself. So,
I didn't get all that.
Yeah. I checked my account. I was like, wait, I do have gold. No, I have gold. So it doesn't expire until June. I'm like, okay, what's going on? I can log back in, and it would get further and further in the cutscene, and then kick me out. So it was like, oh, maybe a little further. Boop. Finally dropped me off the plane, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go move. And it was frozen.
Oh, my God.
And then it would tell me, oh, you got to wait to get in the queue. I'm like, okay, so I'm waiting. It just never dropped me in. So I'm hoping that it's going to fix itself. It's going to kind of stabilize out. Maybe a bunch of people were trying it.
Yeah,
I don't
essentially,
know.
That's basically what happened. I actually saw a news story that said
it launched.
The servers got overloaded. So there were like a ton of just people unable to get in and play. The first day, it took me a little bit of time. They kept saying that the servers were down at first, like the first 3-4 times I tried to log in. But it let me in, and I was actually able to play for, I want to say, 30-35 minutes. I got through that first intro mission. I walked around the little hub area.
Yeah.
I crafted some stuff because it was the first couple of quests they give you, and then I went and did a second mission, and then crafted another thing after that. And then I stopped playing because, honestly, I was kind of bored.
How was it compared to your same time, same place in Monster Hunter, that introduction and the combat? How was that compared to Dauntless for you?
Honestly, Dauntless feels a little more basic. So, like, and the thing is, it is a free-to-play game, so I wasn't expecting it to be, like, 1-to-1, but Dauntless does feel slightly soulless 40%. in that kind of way. One thing that I really didn't like was the fact that there doesn't seem to be a lock on. So like you're fighting enemies, you can't like I felt like that was just a basic tenet of games like this. It's a weird design decision. I guess that doesn't really inform,
I think only the pistols bite.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
That would make sense. But I didn't try anything other than that first sword they gave you, and the attacks for that are pretty basic. Monster Hunter is way more involved in terms of what you can do with weapons. Like it really feels like you're playing a class when you pick up weapons. And I've only tried the one, and so far, if maybe the other weapons are better, that's a good thing. But literally everything in Monster Hunter World feels good if you spend the time with it for the most part. Like you find stuff that you like to play with, or you can find multiple things. But I don't want to judge it too harshly yet because I really didn't play for that long. I did try to log back in earlier today, and just like you were saying, they put me at like 70,000 in the queue. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? Just sit here and like it's not like there was a timer saying like, oh, the number's going down.
Oh my gosh.
It just like I would exit and then come back and it would show me the same number. Oh, you're still 70,000. Don't worry about it. We got you.
Yeah, you gonna mess around and be 70,001 next time.
and that's what I mean. Where the free to play thing. Now, like you said, it's free to play, but like I've played other free to play games. Apex,
right,
is a free to play
Apex was
game.
a gorgeous free to play
but
line.
it doesn't feel free to play. It feels like
Doesn't
a full
feel
premium thing.
Exactly. Now, a similar situation, DC Universe. They had paywalls, but the paywalls did not affect the gameplay and my interest in the game. Now, yeah, I'm a big comic nerd, but the thing is, like, the combat wasn't affected by it. Now, you wanted different powers and stuff,
a different powers.
some cosmetic stuff. You had to pay a little bit. Okay, I understand. I got to make your money somehow.
Stuff that you would then have to
exactly,
pay for, right?
But the story, the
all the
cutscenes,
basic stuff, was,
the combat, you felt that content in there. So yeah, it was free to play, but it wasn't that freemium type situation where, hey, later it started to get like that. Where I believe if you got a certain amount of inventory space, if you wanted more, you had to pay
for it.
A couple bucks.
To the credit of Dauntless, though, like everything you're saying, I agree with. I don't feel like that's the issue with Dauntless. Dauntless doesn't do that. Where
I think
like
it was just lacking certain.
Yeah, it's just like it really does feel, in terms of gameplay, like a clone, like a slightly lesser version of the thing it's based on. But everything else about its free-to-play model, I feel like it works. Like, you can craft stuff, like the time to kill monsters or whatever. Like, I haven't come across any barriers to that stuff. Like, the stuff that they would charge you for, I think, is more cosmetic based.
Yeah. And that's what I don't mind, is the cosmetic
like
stuff.
that I'm fine
it's just that feeling of a game where I'm playing it and it feels like this is free. And a lot of times, like, you get what you pay for. It was free.
Yeah.
You get the basic stuff, and I will say one thing about it: the monsters are very unique, and the AI on them is pretty cool. So like I fought a few different monsters that had different attacks, different behaviors, and it was actually pretty fun. Now, they're not as pretty as Monster Hunters.
Yeah, the art style is another thing.
Yes,
it looks,
but
like
the variety of them, their attacks and stuff, I will say it does have a leg up on Monster Hunter in that regard. Once you fight some of the later creatures, you'll see.
I only fought those first two, and I wasn't super impressed. Like they were fine. They weren't like basic by any means, but in comparison to kind of the first couple of things I went against in Monster Hunter World, like Monster Hunter World definitely. But yeah, I do want to get back in and try some more of it out. Maybe one day it will let me do that.
Blue, didn't you play it?
Yeah, I was waiting for my turn to talk about Dauntless, honestly. I'm sure everyone who's watching, they saw my face.
Like...
my face was like, yeah, okay. No, my experience, I feel like the art style was influenced by something like World of Warcraft. It definitely feels like some old school, very cartoony, but lifelike scale, right?
Yeah. Like a Playmobil set.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a bunch of big toys.
You would say that, Dad. Sorry, but that was a perfect example. But at the same time, what I loved about Monster Hunter, or what I do love about Monster Hunter, is that the combat, the hitboxes are very tight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If the tip of my sword hits the tip of his tail, it's gonna make contact. You know what I mean? It's not it's not gonna just clip through. With Dauntless, and I was using that sword to fight that first monster, I didn't know what I was hitting and what I wasn't hitting, besides if the numbers came up. Like, it didn't. The timing was crappy.
Feedback,
yeah,
the attacks wasn't
it
really
did
there.
not feel reflexive at all. You know what I mean? So I had a really hard time, like, putting myself into the role of this character, which I will say, here's a pro now. They did have some good black people hair. They had about
I thought that too.
2 or 3.
Yeah,
there weren't
a lot, but the ones that were there were really good. Like, I like the look of the black hair.
I did get as far as customization in the new one, and it was like there were no low cuts. You either were bald or you had even the long hair options.
Yeah.
Was just
they were limited, but
either you had a mohawk or you were a chick. That's it.
Oh, and did you see one thing that's also cool with customization is you can change the look of your character at any time. and you can
I
change.
did not
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
and you can change from a man to a woman, or you can be gender neutral. Like,
Right.
Yeah, like
Interesting.
that's dope.
That's pretty cool.
That's
I
progressive.
mean,
Yeah,
I get
like
yeah,
that.
that's
progressive.
I don't think I've ever seen that before, where you can go male, female, or just neutral, or just some kind. I guess I don't know if it was a slider or if it was just the 3 options, but it seems like you
Yeah,
can
it said
give
body
any.
type,
Yeah,
male
you
and
can give
female.
like a woman like a male body type, or a man a,
So you could be a guy, a girl, or a slime.
a slime.
A slime.
Ah, I see what I did there.
Well, I will say, right, I got to give credit. Volition has been doing Saints Row for the longest time, and Saints Row always has that middle line in their character creation.
True. Yeah, you're right. Actually,
Yeah.
they let you kind of do whatever you want to the character you create there too. So
Exactly.
that is dope.
But yeah, so going back to Dauntless, I didn't like it so far. When I got in there, it just looked very. I found this free to play game on Steam. That's what it felt like, and I was just giving it a shot. I need to play some more, I guess, to see the variety in the AI enemies that you guys are talking about. But what I saw in that first one, he was too easy to figure out.
Mhm.
There was
Yeah, it
there
really
was
wasn't
no
challenging up at the beginning at all.
yeah. I mean, I've in Monster Hunter World, the first big monster you take down is the Great Jagras, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that dude, you can still mount him. You can still do everything that you want with the different weapons that you choose from, and blah blah blah. There was a lot more dynamics. Now I can't obviously compare this 1-to-1 because one I paid for and one I didn't, right? And just like you guys said, you get what you pay for. But like I said, I'm gonna have to play more to see how complex the enemy AI becomes. I didn't see any kind of chasing down this guy after he was tired, this monster after he was tired, or anything like that. It was just one arena. I beat him till he dies. There's no way I was gonna lose. You had some kind of superpower where you start,
Right,
your blade
there's, like,
turns
special
blue.
abilities and stuff.
Yeah, that was a little
Mhm.
interesting. So we'll see. Right now, I'm not impressed. I'm playing it purely for education.
And I wanted to like it because I am a big MMO guy, and the last free to play MMOs have been just not playable. Play Black Desert, just did not enjoy that.
Fam.
Yeah, Terra was another one.
Everybody.
Yes.
This is my thing, right? Especially in our circles. Whenever there's a free to play MMO, I swear there's always somebody who's like, "Yo, this is gonna be the game.
Yep.
We're all gonna be on this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
We're
yeah.
really all playing." Blah, 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 blah. And then when it comes out, you don't hear a word,
Nope.
Because
After
people
those
try
first
it
3
out
days,
and then they get turned
and they're like,
off.
"Oh, this sucks."
Yeah.
Terra was a bunch of fetch quests, and I mean, I get that in the beginning, but it was like
Yeah.
run here, run there, run here, run there. I wish that they would port over two games, and they don't have to be free to play, but it was free to play. Phantasy Star Online 2.
Oh my God, yes.
Let's do it.
We
Fantasy Star
played
Online.
that. We played
Can we
that.
sign that?
We
Just
had
sign
the
that
Japanese pack. We had the English
Yeah,
pack
we
for the
like
Japanese version.
basically logged into the Japanese servers
Nice.
and used like an English hack to like put all the text in English and stuff. And we played that game for, I want to say, a good month or two.
Amazing game, yes.
That game was
But and the cosmetic stuff made you want to buy it. It was
Yeah.
like, holy crap.
If I could have given that game money, I would have.
Exactly. But it was like so much stuff you had to do that stuff. You had to have like a Japanese account overseas. If you bought this cosmetic stuff with an English account, obviously they knew,
Yeah, they would have caught you.
you know. And
No
it's like,
American credit
Sega,
cards.
stop making Sonic games.
Like, please.
Leave Sonic alone.
Go
and
back
push-
to Fantasy Star.
Exactly.
That was
What
a
are you
big game
doing?
in Japan. Like, it
Fam,
released over there, and it was on Vita.
There was a fan-made resurrection of it called Blue Burst, I think it was called.
No, that's
And-
for the first one on Phantasy Star Online 1.
They added
Or
the
two,
second
rather.
one on there. They added the second one on there.
We know
The last,
Yeah, there's Phantasy Star Online episode 1, and then there's episode 2.
yeah.
But
Oh,
this
you
was
thinking about Phantasy Star Online 2.
Yeah.
Got you. My bad. We talking about two different games. Look, this thing though, right? Both those games, I'll still agree with all the points that you guys made about the second one with the first one.
Yeah.
I love the first one. I started playing it on the GameCube originally.
Right, me too.
Resurrected it on Bluebirds a couple years back, and it was just as fun as when I first played it. You know,
We played the crap out of that game.
heck yeah. That was a good
really
game.
wish
That was a
back.
really good
You
game.
just upset me by reminding me that Sega will never release that game.
My bad. Nah, yeah. And
Don't
it
cry,
had a
be
release
strong.
date. It had a Western release date, and they said something happened. They just like
They didn't feel like there was enough
left it.
interest or whatever.
Yeah.
So they
That's
Which is-
terrible.
You releasing these Sonic games? There's no interest in them. Like, what are you doing?
I mean, I don't know.
I
Those
can't
Sonic
say
games
there's
tend
no
to sell, I
interest, but-
guess, because like kids still love Sonic. So
But they like awful sales on them, like
Sonic
Sonic
got a movie.
Boom.
like that Mario
Sonic,
and
nigga.
Sonic at the Olympic Games.
Yeah.
They keep
That
making
sells,
those
but that's
because
not
they
on the strength
sell.
of Sonic, though. I believe it's on the strength of the mini
Mario?
games, because it's like mini games.
Yeah, it's a mini game collection.
Who doesn't love the mini games?
Me, I
So,
don't love those.
Also,
I like it.
if you ever played Guild Wars 2,
No, I haven't.
that's my game.
My man. Look, okay, guys, and I didn't mention it earlier. I was playing Final Fantasy 14. I love that game. I think it's one of the best MMOs I've ever played. A very, very, very close second is Guild Wars 2.
My
That
man.
game is a walking, living, breathing painting. It is
Yep.
gorgeous.
Hmm.
Everything that you spend money for is purely cosmetic and convenience, right? And the gameplay, it unlike other MMOs, it's zone based where you have the hitboxes and stuff like that, which is really freaking cool.
Mhm.
Because in most other MMOs you have to target, you know what I mean, and you get close and do it.
And it's
All
like
this-
auto attack and stuff, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Not
that I
just,
hate.
yeah.
That's my biggest turnoff for MMOs of that nature is the auto attack stuff.
Once you, I mean, it's always going to be auto attack in the beginning, and then later on, you're not even going to notice your auto attack because you're using so many dang skills per second. You know what I mean? Even though it's happening in the background.
Yeah, I love
But-
Guild Wars 2. Even the combat,
Oh my
the
gosh.
customization,
The
it was
music,
just
the story.
exactly. And they're always adding and doing new things with
Yep.
it.
They
After
actually,
how
I think
many
they're
years
dropping
it's still going on?
another.
Yeah, I got the email.
They're dropping another expansion right now. It's after Heart of Thorns. It's called, I can't remember right now. I'd have to look it up for you guys. But Guild Wars 2 is gorgeous.
Maybe I'll
It's
check that out.
definitely,
If you guys
yeah.
go back to it or something, maybe I'll check
fam.
it
If
out.
you go back to it, I'll go back to it. I promise. I'll be right there.
Yeah, because I never touched it. I think it's somewhere on my my console. That one's also free to play, right?
No.
No,
You buy
that
it
actually
once.
cost you.
Yeah, you buy it once.
I might
And-
have it on my, or I might. Be
Yeah,
doing
there's no
something else.
monthly subscription to it, so that's another thing.
Yeah.
Even though it could validate one, there's no monthly
Mm-hmm.
subscription, but the content on it is very, very good. And like I said, like you said, they're constantly doing new updates for it.
Really good jumping
Okay.
puzzles in that game too.
Random,
Just a
but-
side note.
Okay, so
Jump.
that's what we've been playing. We're
Yeah.
gonna move on to a bunch of movie stuff. First off, Jeff, you wanted to talk about the new Batman animated movie for the
Oh,
Hush
man.
storyline coming out.
Yes. For all of you who might not be familiar with Hush, he's been in a few media.
I know there was something about him in the last Batman game,
Yes,
Arkham Knight.
he was in Arkham Knight. He was in there. You meet him behind closed doors. I don't think you actually get to fight him, but I believe he does make a cameo in
yeah,
there.
it's like
He-
a little tiny thing.
He has a bandaged face. He actually was in DC Universe as well.
Really?
Yeah, he was in the underground place where Penguin was. You had to go and stop Penguin, and he was the one giving you the mission.
Interesting.
He's going back and forth between
Good
a
guy.
hero and kind of an anti-hero.
Mhm.
A loose story about him.
Yeah, who is he essentially?
Basically,
That's
he
the
was
question, right?
Bruce's childhood friend. Where Bruce's parents were killed,
Yeah.
he killed his parents
As a
because
kid?
he, around as a teenager.
Okay.
He wanted the money. He wanted the money. So he did it for that. He wound up being in an accident and was supposedly dead. Now he's also a plastic surgeon.
Okay.
Oh, so he just
So don't-
rearranging his face.
Yeah. For
On
some
some
reason,
face-off stuff.
what you'll get from the movie, because I think they're doing a different take on it.
Mm.
He blamed Bruce. He had an
For-
obsession with Batman for not saving him when he needed him. You know the whole big thing. So-
Him and half the DC villains
Exactly.
in
From
Gotham.
Yep. And then so he He did plastic surgery on himself.
Okay.
To
As you
make
do.
make himself look like Bruce.
Oh,
and that worked. Like he was able to do
he's
that.
that good?
He's that good.
That's kind of a superpower.
That's scary.
Yes. But the biggest thing was his mind. He was a tactician. He was very methodic. He was always one step ahead of Batman.
And that's what the trailer is showing.
Yeah, the trailer.
Yeah.
I think he literally says that he's
Yeah.
that he's
Oh,
way ahead of it.
I highly recommend checking out not Batman. DC has some of the best animated movies to date.
Oh, yeah.
If you liked
I would agree
Batman
with
in the Red Hood, you had
The Red Hood is my stuff, man.
that. Yeah,
Batman in the Red Hood. I watched it a few times. You have the Superman movies. They were great. The Justice League. You had Doom, War.
Flashpoint Paradox.
Exactly.
that one was
Flashpoint
really good.
Paradox.
That one was really, really good.
Amazing. Somebody asked about that. Somebody had to go and watch it. Somebody who didn't see it. I don't remember who it was. I thought it was one of you guys, but maybe not.
No, I saw that.
But it was great.
We
It was
could.
great. I think every time one comes out, I go and see it.
Mhm.
Most recent was
The Ninja Turtle one crossover. Did that come
Batman and Ninja Turtles. It came out. It's either on digital DVD now, or is it? You know how to like Xbox? They let you
out?
buy it a
like
week
buy
before.
Okay, yeah.
So
I don't know how I
highly
feel about
recommend
that one.
Really?
I want
That doesn't
the-
sound
I
cool
want-
as hell to you? Batman
Ninja
versus
Turtles
Ninja
and
Turtles?
Batman?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me tell y'all something real quick, and I'm not
They
going
have
to
a
divert
comic
too
before
much.
you go. They had a
Yeah,
comic.
they did have
before
a
the
comic.
ended.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did hear about that. I'm rewatching Gotham. I started again, me and my girl, and I'm realizing more and more that I love Bruce Wayne and I hate Batman. Yes, I can separate the two.
I mean, he kind of does that himself, but most people feel the opposite.
Oh
They
man,
love
honestly,
Batman and don't care so much for Bruce Wayne.
and I'm just gonna drop this little thing real quick, and then we'll
I
keep
don't think
moving.
Batman even likes Bruce Wayne.
I don't think he does either. Alfred should have gotten Bruce some therapy. Some grief
It's
therapy.
a hot take.
Because lots of people lose their parents on a regular basis, unfortunately,
Mm.
and they go to therapy, and it's not like they forget their parents, it's just they learn how to live with it. This dude is rich, and he does whatever he wants.
I can see the argument for that.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a little atypical.
But think about it. If he got him some help,
Yeah.
how many people would have died in the result?
But didn't the
But
movies
how
kind of paint that picture of Batman kind of coming into the picture and taking out all this crime, kind of birthed these super criminals as a reaction to him?
Yeah, but that's that. We're
Look
talking
at the Red
about
Hood.
like
Look at the Red Hood.
we're talking about how the
Alright.
Justice League kind of first came together
Mm.
during the whole Dark Side situation.
Okay.
If Batman wasn't there,
He's
and
really-
mind you, I am pro Superman. I believe he is.
I got another
the end
argument.
all
for
be
that.
all. Superman
He is it. He is it. Like, but Batman proved to be realistically the core of the
Mm.
Justice League and kind of what brought them together. And he's
Yeah,
always had a
it's
sharp
also based-
mind as far as preparation and
Yeah.
kind of knowing what needs to be done and doing what nobody else wants to do.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with Batman's usefulness.
Yeah,
in
no,
terms
by no
of
means.
stuff, but I get what Terrence is getting at by basically
I
saying
get
his
it, yeah.
reaction to that trauma is
Alfred
a little
failed
OD,
that
just a little bit
Alfred
insane.
failed
But I
that
mean, that's the
city.
whole point. It's a comic book
Yeah.
that Alfred failed him.
Yeah. My,
Oh man.
Oliver should have popped out and told him he failed this city, but
all these,
speaking of that,
all these
side note,
billionaires doing
they
whatever
got
they
the
want in their cities.
Batwoman TV show coming out.
I heard
Right,
about that.
Yeah.
That looks pretty cool.
Cassie Kane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been over like the CW shows for a while now. That one,
I don't know if you've ever really been on them.
I really was like, in all honesty, I thought Flash season 1 was like spectacular. That's probably the best live action superhero show I'd ever seen at that point. Like name a better superhero, like a live action superhero TV show than Flash season 1.
Season 1 for me would be.
Gotham?
I actually enjoyed.
Gotham, no,
no,
absolutely not.
Gotham
Gotham's
doesn't hold
better.
a candle. No offense to the
To
CW
what?
shows in their first 2, 3 seasons, maybe 3 seasons. Black Lightning to me has the best
I like Black
I fell
Lightning.
off of Black Lightning. I
Best
found it to be
second-
kind of hokey.
best
Eventually.
second season.
seconds.
It
I didn't get to the second.
It hasn't dropped and or lost its momentum. Arrow, I'm a big fan of Arrow. I feel like it lost some.
I could not stomach Arrow at all for season 1, and then got really into it for season 2 and 3, and then 4 was like god awful, and then I think 5 was also awful, and then I went back to I think 7 got good. Arrow's been all over the place. I got sick of it. Flash
like
eventually got boring. Supergirl was always trash. What else? Legends of Tomorrow I didn't really like much.
Tell them how you really feel.
Right?
Because like they were up and down. Like I like that they were trying to do their own mini, cinematic universe and stuff. That stuff was cool.
That didn't get good until season 2. Season 1 was like kind of like a test run.
Yeah.
When they got rid of Hawkeye and Hawkgirl, that got better. Yeah. Vandal Savage was like the worst villain they picked, or the way they portrayed him was just bad.
That sucks.
But anyhow, we're gonna move on from Batman movies and move on to video game movies. Specifically, PlayStation has announced a new venture called PlayStation Productions, where they're going to start turning some of their IPs into movies, essentially. The first one announced apparently is the Uncharted series. They're trying to fast track that to be the first PlayStation.
That's been in the talks for a while too.
Yeah, it has been actually.
Years.
I believe Seth Rogen was attached to write that, and then eventually dropped off because he went like, I can't figure out a way how to not make this Indiana Jones. Because that's all Uncharted is, right?
Wrong.
That's all Uncharted is. Uncharted, and everything is derivative. Uncharted was male Tomb Raider, and Tomb Raider was female Indiana Jones, right?
True.
So it's like it kind of circled back onto itself. It's been eating its own tail. The games are fine. There's nothing. I don't have any issue with that. But I don't know. What do you guys think about PlayStation properties as movies in general? Because I personally feel like PlayStation, for as good as their exclusives have been, they don't really have a ton of like star power in their first party characters, like to base content around.
Jeff, you want to take it first, or you want me to go?
I'll hit it first. So the problem I believe with video game movies in general is the video game is covered a lot. Mm-hmm. It's covered their origin, their beginning, sometimes their end. So then how do you complete a movie to cover over sometimes 240 hours of gameplay?
Right.
And that becomes the trick. Some stuff has done it pretty good. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World doesn't really count, but that is one of my that's one of my favorite video game comic book adaptations. The Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man game,
like the PlayStation one, or
no, the one for GameCube that was based off the movie.
The first Spider-Man, or Spider-Man 2?
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yes, because you couldn't go on the ground.
Yeah,
you had to web shoot.
Okay,
but you couldn't land on the ground. It was the first. I'll look it up. I'll get some better details.
Oh, no, was it on the N64?
I think it was.
No, that sounds like the one that was based on the cartoon, right, or the actual movie.
No, this one was based off the movie.
Oh,
it was the first one before. The second one was the one with Doc Ock, which was supposed to be the best one. Mm-hmm. Three was trying to do too much.
Yeah, it was.
I'll look it up. I'll have some details on it. But back to star power.
Yeah.
I heard about a Sly Cooper.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Matter of fact, they did the Ratchet and Clank movie.
Yes, they did.
It bombed. Like it wasn't good.
Absolutely terrible.
That was the animated one.
And it was animated. It looked. Matter of fact, they said it didn't even like they did a kind of a Ratchet and Clank reboot game to tie into that movie, and they said the game was better visually and in terms of content than the movie was.
It's tricky. It's very tricky because if you do a movie that follows the game, then you're worried about people being uninterested because they've seen it already.
They're retreading.
Yeah. Then you worry about adding your own mix to it, and you worry about people being upset because you changed something that they love.
Mm-hmm. And that's common, I think, for any movie adaptation.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, I mean, my thing is, it would have to be, to me, God of War, Killzone, Or
Yeah.
Killzone?
Killzone's
has
actually
a
pretty
really
good.
story behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Or
Yeah.
name of the game. Can't
I'm
think of it
waiting for
right
you to
now.
say it.
It's
Name an element from it.
it's a first-person shooter. It deals with it deals with aliens and
Resistance.
Resistance.
Oh, I remember Resistance.
I do too.
Holy crap. Man, you brought that back.
Oh,
Oh
and
my
Heavenly
gosh.
Sword.
No.
Oh,
You mean
that's
female
a Ninja
God of
Theory
War?
joint. Yeah, that was kind of female
That's
God of
female
War.
God of War.
But
It
that's
is.
just
I guess
like
I guess
Indiana
Sony still
Jones.
does own. But it's like who would go watch a Heavenly Sword movie? Like people don't like. I remember that. I specifically remember
was a
that game
launch
because
title.
I love Ninja Theory. It was for the PS3 though, and like
Yeah.
there was never anything else after that.
Mm-hmm.
What were you thinking about, Terrence? What would you think?
I was thinking about Metal Gear Solid. I think those would
That's
be
not a Sony.
badass
That's
movie.
not a Sony.
it
property.
would, but
Sony doesn't own.
oh no, yeah, that's Konami.
That's Konami.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, they're not putting it. Oh, they are putting their stuff on
yeah.
Xbox. You're right. Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, it's like think of
PlayStation.
this is what I'm getting at. It's Sony Productions, so it has to be a property that Sony actually owns.
I got
Dead
it.
Space.
Sony doesn't own Dead Space either.
You go put Parappa the Rapper back where it's supposed to be.
But that's exactly what I'm getting at. Parappa the Rapper
No,
is a Sony character. Who would watch a movie about Parappa? I wouldn't.
Who wouldn't? Parappa from the hood, learning.
What hood is Parappa from?
Because it's going to be extremely racist to do it right.
See,
He's going to have to live in Inglewood, right? And then he's got all kinds of problems there. And he's like a flat piece of paper.
He's from Compton.
because honestly, like let's take Uncharted for example, since that's the first thing that they're getting ready to do, right?
Yeah.
Nathan Drake is the most generic protagonist
Mm-hmm.
like you could ever think of. He's a 30s, 40s something
He's Nathan
white
Fillion.
man.
Okay.
He's Nathan Fillion, basically.
That's what he is.
Now we're missing the key one, and which has kind of already been done to the most part. They had the play, but they had the Last of Us.
Okay.
They had
Um,
a theatrical performance
They did?
really?
from the two people who do the voice of Joel and Ellie.
Interesting.
Oh, was that like that? Oh, I may have heard of this, but matter of fact, yeah, that would actually be a good movie. But that's also kind of that's the thing about games. Games draw on so much other media to kind of make something that you are familiar with and like interactive, because that's the new aspect to it. But then when you take the interactivity out to make it something visual, most game stories and properties aren't unique enough to kind of stand out, is how I feel about it. Like The Road, that book / movie, is kind of what The Last of Us was based on.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I remember that.
they're just going to make another The Road when they make The Last of Us, right? They're going to make another Indiana Jones when they make Uncharted. They're going to make another Hunger Games, for lack of a better example, when they make Horizon Zero Dawn.
So do they follow another character that's in that same world?
That would kind of be where I would want to do. I've said that a couple of times. Like, if you do want to do an adaptation, your best bet is to use the setting, maybe use some characters, but tell a unique story. Like, don't
Different
retread the game,
perspective.
exactly. Like, I feel like that's the best bet.
So I got it. So instead of making another game, well, God of War, you let God of War play out the way it's going to play out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, God of
God
War.
of War can probably work.
His son,
to be honest.
Arceus,
That's
right?
unique enough, I feel like.
What if they did a movie about his son? Right? Now, that would eat up a lot of
Like,
stuff.
later
material they
on
could
in
use
life, when he
later
grows
on.
up?
Kratos is dead. He's in a retirement home or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they're following Arceus and his story or whatever it is. And they tell that. It would either have to be a real prequel that hasn't been told, story that hasn't been told, or it has to be something same thing about Star Wars. Because so much has already been covered, you either have to go so far ahead or so far back in order to have the creative leeway you need to where you don't mess anything up.
That's exactly what I said last week.
That was you?
That was me. That's exactly what I said last week, man.
Like,
We was talking about the Old Republic.
I personally like that idea when you're trying to do an adaptation. But I feel like the trouble that Hollywood tends to run into is they both want something that's popular, but also don't usually believe that the thing that's popular is popular enough in its own right. So like they'll say, okay, we want to make a movie out of God of War because that's a big deal. Yeah. But then they won't say, okay, God of War is well known enough for us not to reintroduce what God of War is in the first movie, which is like kind of contradictory. So you get people who want to see God of War, and it's like, okay, if this is faithful enough, they'll be maybe pleased. But then all the people who don't know what God of War is, what interest would they have in that?
And that's why the action has to be on point.
Yeah.
And that's why the initial story and the premise, that's why the trailer has to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like
that's why trailers are so dang important.
The new Tomb Raider movie, the one that just came out, like I want to say a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It literally was like shot for shot the rebooted game. Did you guys see that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about.
Like, people didn't seem to really care about that movie, but I went and saw it and was like, you know what? This wasn't that bad. I felt like it was better than the Angelina Jolie ones.
Okay. I like looking at Angelina Jolie.
I did like it better than Angelina Jolie, but back then, the time that it took place, it was good.
What, Angelina Jolie's Tomb Raider?
The Tomb Raider. Big. At the time that it took place.
At the time, yeah.
Where we were
Those
as far as
early 2000s.
cinematic. Exactly. Now, what these games need to achieve is kind of what Black Panther achieved, where people are going to go see Black Panther because they know Black Panther, they love T'Challa, they know all about Wakanda. Mm-hmm. Then you have the people who just went to see Black Panther because of who was in it, who was directing it, and exactly.
Okay. So you want to build like a critical mass.
Exactly.
Of hype around
you don't have to only get the people who the fans. You're getting people who are new to it.
True. Okay.
Well.
And that's why, like I say, the trailer needs to be on point.
Mm-hmm.
People have to be drawn in by the trailer. Now, like, going back to, Sony exclusives and stuff like that, and just Sony film production on their game side. I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the day, they did a series called Powers.
I do.
It was terrible.
I remember that.
That gives me zero faith in their studio and the story writing. Now, like that was put out on their own platform.
Yeah, that was like
they tried a season 2, and like I don't know if they even started airing it, but the fact is, the second season, I was reading up an article on it like a week ago, and it was like one of the biggest failures and blah blah blah. It was absolutely terrible, where people don't even recognize season 2. And that's what Sony had done. And I think they did one or two other shows. It's probably one other show, to be honest with you. But if they're using that same studio and those same people, they need to be very careful about what they bottom line going into this new venture.
Weird, because Sony as an entire company
is good
Sony
at both
pictures. Yeah, they have Sony pictures. They've made, I mean, not all of them are good, but they have made good movies in the past.
They've made good movies. They know how to do it.
So they should have some kind of connection to kind of get that stuff done. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I personally feel like maybe only God of War is going to be kind of a breakout hit, or have the potential to at least be a hit in terms of the newer story that they told. The older story probably wouldn't have really resonated much. But there's a core to that.
I would have liked the old story.
I don't hate it either. I just don't feel like that's mostly like power fantasy gameplay based. If you put that on a big screen, like what's the difference between that and like those Rise of the Titans movies?
Now, what if they did this? Right? They announced a new God of War coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
After the movie's out. Movie comes out. It's kind of telling the story of what happens after the first game. There is no second game.
Well, like
so
ever?
to get, not ever, but so this is where I'm drawn between. Do they do a separate? Okay, boom. Tell me how about this. Okay, so
I almost got something for you. Just on this brainstorm. What you got? Okay, new God of War.
New God of War. No, not new God of War. Old God of War. They announced a movie.
I follow it.
Kratos is going to, I don't know, to
Man, I don't want this.
Puerto Rico.
Not Puerto Rico. There are no gods there.
Oh no, I was thinking like Egyptian gods. That would be
Egyptian,
super
yes.
cool.
Egyptian,
Right, there were some
Viking,
hints at that kind of
Egyptian, Indian, whatever you want to go. Now, the movie comes out. It covers that. The next game comes out. It's a
sequel to the movie.
Your choices affect the way the game ends. Situation with Kratos, because they've added more dialogue to the game. If remember you played it, yeah. So there's conversations, Mass Effect type situations where
BioWare to handle this.
No, we don't want that. We don't want that.
They have the best choice.
I love BioWare, but they haven't been on point lately. That's another topic for another time.
The gameplay is crap. Their stories are always good.
Now, because that adds another spin to the movie. Gives you one possible ending.
Oh, so you're saying the game lets you
the way you play
replay the movie, but with
exactly.
different. Okay, yeah, okay,
yes,
that'd be cool.
Okay, I kind of see it.
So
the game is like a companion to the movie.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a movie tie-in game in that way.
But there's multiple endings, kind of like I don't know, anything. Goosebump books where if you pick this choice, turn on this page. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Or like
Mass Effect.
That movie, was it Clue? Back in the day, they had like
they had like 2 or 3 theatrical
and
endings.
Bandersnatch, that thing.
Yeah, like choose your own adventure. That's essentially what it's.
Yep.
But all right. Well, we'll see how that kind of stuff does. As we already know, Detective Pikachu is the most successful video game movie ever, I think.
Yeah, that is.
I've enjoyed Detective Pikachu, but so don't get me wrong. The game was a C+.
Yeah, the game.
Which game?
Not the
game. The movie was a C+.
Oh, the movie. Okay.
The movie was a C+.
This movie was a C+ as far as the story goes and surprises and stuff.
Okay.
The execution was amazing. The way the Pokemon looked, the way the world looked, the way things interacted.
Well, it's getting the sequel, so maybe they'll be able to improve.
Maybe the humans didn't look off compared to the Pokemon. Pokemon didn't look ultraly fake. Mm-hmm. The comedy was there. I don't know. I guess it was like Deadpool, kind of like it was a movie. There was some great stuff going on. There wasn't tons of story, so it was okay. I am looking forward to the sequel to hope that it kind of expands in the world and they do something different. I don't care what anybody says. I would want to see some battling. I was just waiting. I wanted to see some battling.
Okay, so this movie just came out. I don't know if we can go too far into spoilers.
I don't think Oh, yeah.
No, you didn't do spoilers, but
let's not announce anything because you're right. It's pretty new.
Yeah. Me and the lady friends still got to see it.
The aesthetics. Oh, yeah, you didn't see it. Okay, so I won't go too far into that.
Yeah.
We should kind of... Pokemon looked great. The way it looked was cool. You do know Mewtwo's in the movie, right?
Yeah, that showed up in
the
trailers.
He looked great, even though he's difficult. He looked better in the movie than he looked in that new CGI they're doing for the first Pokemon movie.
Oh,
well, yeah, that one's more cartoony though, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like the aesthetics of the way his body was shaped. I'm not coming away from anything like that. The way he moved, the way the different attacks worked. I enjoyed the way it looked. I think it was a great step up from, I know Sonic, but it was. The way the Pokemon fit into the world was just, I don't know, it was great. I enjoyed watching it.
Right, all right.
I'm glad I didn't spoil anything for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Right, we're gonna move along. If you guys noticed, I kind of shifted some stuff.
Yeah,
in the titles here. Just since we were already on the subject of movies, I'm gonna kick this one to Blue, even though I don't think he suggested this. But Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic is rumored to be in production. So this is a Star Wars movie based on the BioWare game Knights of the Old Republic.
So if you could give us some people who don't know what Knights of the Old Republic is, just give us a brief kind of explanation of what the story of the game is.
It's basically the Knights of the Old Republic is such a far story from the rest of the Star Wars stories that it's its own universe. Now, granted, obviously, it's all set in the same area, right? Geographical area, but Knights of the Republic is basically how the Republic was before the Sith really came over and started being a problem, or as the Sith were coming over and being a problem. That's the most general thing I can give you. The games are, I think they're both on Game Pass right now, 1 and 2. If you want to go through them, they're wonderful stories. It's got a heavy if you guys have played Dungeons and Dragons before, if you look at your attributes and skills and blah blah blah, different things like that, you'll definitely recognize a lot of the stats there. But they explain everything on the screen. It's a little stats heavy. I know that's not necessarily Sigma's forte.
I actually played the first Knights of the Old Republic. I just didn't finish it.
Yeah, okay.
But I did enjoy it while I played. I think I literally got stuck somewhere where I couldn't do a thing, and then just never went back to it. But I did enjoy it when I was playing it.
It's
Do
definitely.
you know how it ends, though?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But if you wanted to talk about it, I wouldn't care. Like, this
I
game
feel
is like
like
20 years old.
It's still that good though.
It is. I agree.
Especially the end of the. I love the end of the cycle. Most people don't.
So you think it's a story that's worth telling as a movie?
Absolutely. Especially if they go into one of the most powerful. I don't even want to call him a Jedi. I'll call him a being, Revan. If they go into touching on who Revan is and how
Darth Revan and Darth Malak.
Yeah,
I think that is mentioned in the article.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a rumor, so we don't know that this is something that's been announced.
Disney would be smart to do it because, like we were talking about, there is so much canon is up in the air, whether it's canon or it's not canon. This would give so much. Now it could work, or it could really mess it up. That's the thing.
I feel like there's so much good material out there that it's going to be difficult for Disney to mess this up.
Because you know who it kind of brings back into the fold too, Mandalore.
Yes,
because that was during the time that they were fighting the Mandalorians.
Yep, the Great Mandalorian War. And we talked about it in the last stream when I went on my Star Wars rant. Mandalorians are what Jedi and Sith are afraid of.
So
they are
that Mandalorian TV show. Is that also in that time period?
No, he's a descendant of this Mandalorian. Well, by the way it looks, and you know what, I shouldn't say no right off the bat. By the way it looks like this is a descendant of the Mandalorian race, just like Jango Fett and Boba Fett. Yeah. Okay. So these are kind of, because Mandalorians are rare. In the latest point we are in the Star Wars story right now, Mandalorians are very rare. Yeah. Because they're basically wiped out.
Yeah, almost
Jedi and Sith had to be like, hold on, let's stop fighting because these cats are really gonna mess us up.
And that's where I think the new game, the Fallen Order. Yeah. I wanted that game to take place during that same time. Because this game takes place after Order 66. Yeah. And this time period has been covered so much. Star Killer. That's not canon. After Order. Oh, they killed that.
They killed that.
Yeah, that's not canon anymore.
They threw that out, which is sad because I think it was. Now, granted, right? If you've watched the Clone Wars, I'm not gonna give too many spoilers. And Anakin has said this I think he said it in the third one, but he's like, I don't do apprentices. I don't do that. I don't train nobody no more. I got one goal. I'm just doing my thing, right?
I thought that's Ahsoka was his apprentice, though.
After her,
watch the Clone Wars. Watch the Clone Wars. All right. Watch the Clone Wars. I don't want to talk too much about that, but you're right. Yes, and if you watch the very first episode, he was very hesitant to take Ahsoka. He didn't like her at all from the get-go. But anyway. Oh man, here we go. And
I feel like you're getting all giddy.
I was getting a little bit giddy over this.
I mean, but basically just to get everything back on track. Yeah, you're excited for the idea of a Knights of the Old Republic movie. It was one of the few MMO type games with auto attacking that we just talked about that I actually enjoyed, but this is more story based as a movie. So I'm excited to see if this does come to fruition, if it'll be good or not.
Yeah,
because there is talks of a new, what do we call it? 3 movies and
trilogy.
Oh no, the trilogy. Right.
Yeah, there was supposed to be talks of a trilogy. Yeah,
heading up. So nobody knows who's going to be behind this if it comes out. But we'll keep our ears open and see how that develops over time. Moving off of cinema stuff into the mobile world, Minecraft Earth was
Yeah.
announced. So this is actually kind of a similar idea to Pokemon Go, where it's an AR game. You look through your phone, and you can see stuff that other people have built in the Minecraft aesthetic in your real world. You can build stuff yourself. You can then take that stuff and place it in places. You can gather stuff from locations, like how you would maybe pick up Pokemon or resources in Pokemon Go. You'll like mine for certain kinds of bricks that you can then use to build stuff and maybe contraptions. And honestly, it sounds really, really cool. I was not a big Minecraft guy. Like I played it on mobile when I played it for a little bit. It had like a little bit of fun. I've watched some videos that I thought were really funny from some people who are like hilarious and played Minecraft.
Yeah.
But I actually think this is something that I would want to try out. Like
you know what?
How do you guys feel?
I kind of echo that. However, I think Minecraft itself is boring as heck, and not just because of the graphics, right? We know that they went for that aesthetic for that's what they chose. Okay, they did it. They did it. All right, cool. I get it. I'm not mad at the choice that they took on those aesthetics. However, I think the concept is boring as heck. Now this AR is a great application of build anything you want because it's in our world. I do like that. Will I be playing it? Probably not. I'll definitely check it out, but I don't see myself being on it for as long as I was on Pokemon Go back in the day. And real side note, I'm just going to jab Harry Potter fans real quick. I'm not playing that Wizards Unite thing because
that has no appeal to me whatsoever.
That's
Those movies are fine, but yeah, I don't care about Harry Potter to that level.
Well, there's a Sword Art Online one too that's coming out, where apparently, you like game? Your phone is your sword or something.
Where my Weeps at? Okay.
If you beat an opponent, their phone is like locked.
What?
It's like the equivalent of dying in the virtual world.
Oh, so they can't play the game no more, or something.
Your phone is locked. You can no longer use it.
Wait, you mean you can't use
your
phone, or you can't use the game?
Like,
Get out of here! That's a lie.
I was thinking like that's actually they don't let you play the game for like an hour because you just died. You're gonna be like, that gotta make sense. Like
you imagine
you fighting because you want to keep playing.
I'm putting my $1,000 iPhone on the line in this mobile game.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. Like your phone just catches fire.
No.
Oh my god.
Okay. For the record, it doesn't lock your phone, people. But I think it would be cool to have like you can't battle nobody for an hour.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
Or do it how Diablo does hardcore. Like that character's dead, he's dead. You got to start from scratch.
Over from the beginning.
Ooh, no.
But I think like Minecraft.
I'm not gonna play it.
Like Minecraft Earth, like it's like, you know how Pokemon Go was like an extremely watered down version of like the base Pokemon game, where what you really wanted was the ability to like run around your neighborhood, catch Pokemon, train them, and then fight them with other people.
Battle.
Right? Yeah. They don't let you do that. If you're a Minecraft fan, this seems a lot closer to what you do in Minecraft. Like you collect stuff, and then you build stuff, and then you share it with other people. And it just makes it an actual real world social space. And I think that's cool.
True. I think it is too.
I agree.
And a certain age for kids who love Minecraft, there's a big audience for that too.
Right, yeah. Minecraft is still $1 billion game series. So this could very well be as big as Pokemon Go was. I mean, I don't know. Like Pokemon is kind of a worldwide phenomenon, but then Minecraft was also. So I don't know kind of where those rank in terms of success levels.
If Minecraft was introduced to me as this mobile game, I think I'd be a huge fan.
Oh, so if you didn't already have your own preconceived notions.
If I didn't have a preconceived notion about what Minecraft was and saw it on the console and saw how, in my opinion, how boring it was. Right? If I didn't see none of that and I just saw this game where you can get materials and build them up and have all kinds of monuments in your neighborhood and stuff, I'd be like, whoa, that's super cool. Let's do it.
What if this game was called Lego Earth?
I buy it.
Right? Because that's kind of what it is, right? They just kind of beat them too. Like if it was all Lego based, I feel like a lot. Because the thing is, it's the brand recognition, and there's a lot of lay people who don't care about games whatsoever. But if they have like a kid in their life, or maybe if they don't, they have adult friends. They've heard of Minecraft. Minecraft is that big. So it's the same thing with Pokemon Go. People who don't care about Pokemon know what a Pokemon is. And like they tried it out because they were hearing on the news that this was a big major thing. I feel like we can have a repeat. So it sounds like an amazing idea. Go ahead.
My question to you then is, what happens when Fortnite comes out with their mobile app?
I mean,
okay,
they did,
where you're mining away, right, and you're building up walls to keep zombies out.
But the thing is, they would never do that because it's not the popular part of Fortnite. If Fortnite created an AR game, where it was a literal, like, okay, 100 people in your neighborhood are now your enemies. If you find them and, like, you know, tap on them on the screen or something, you kill them. That would be dope.
Too many people in jail. We ain't even having that. Too much.
Well, I was thinking more like you have to build up your fort during the day because at like 9 p.m. the zombies will start coming out. I mean, you see if you survive the next morning.
They dropped that side off.
That actually does sound like a cool game concept too, but if you wanted to capture the thing, like the zeitgeisty thing about Fortnite, make it an AR battle royale. Because I feel like people would jump at the chance to be like, "Oh, we can battle royale in real life." Because I feel like that would actually be a good idea. Scrapping. I would try that. And I don't care about Fortnite too much, but I would try that.
Yeah, people are gonna be scrapping. I can see it. I know kids at school are gonna be doing it, and I know grown people are gonna be doing. Hey,
I mean, it's not an actual fight. Like you get the jump on somebody, like take a picture of them with their back turned. I don't know, something like that.
Probably get knocked out, and then niggas gonna tap their phone for them.
There's microtransactions that are gonna happen, and so when one dude spends $50 and one other dude doesn't spend nothing, and the guy who didn't spend anything kills the guy who spent $50, $50 is gonna be mad.
I mean,
I'm gonna tell you that right now.
There's a possibility, but I mean, people did get hit
by
cars when Pokemon Go was famous. So
because it's his neighbor and they talked.
That's true. So, well, guess what, Josh? I pissed in your yard.
Okay.
Yeah, that could go really dark real quick.
All right, we're gonna move off of the fun and games and get into some real world effects that are hitting the video game world. So you may or may not know, the United States is kind of stuck in this trade war right now with China.
Yeah.
And apparently that trade war is like, it's been proposed. This isn't in effect just yet, but it's written down and it's been proposed to add a 25% tariff, which is a tax on imports for console parts. So specifically electronic parts that have to do with creating video game consoles may get a 25% increase in their import-export fees, which would inevitably, of course, trickle down to the consumer and make the consoles we buy, possibly as early as next generation, more expensive.
Yeah.
So
it's a terrible move for gamers. I don't see the tactical value of it politically. Mm-hmm. And I just hope that the gaming community doesn't get the short end of the stick on this. You know, when we can, I think we need to protest and do what we can to stop this from going out. I don't think this is where the money that we need to build up needs to come from.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing too. Is it's not, there's no logic behind it. It's, oh, I want to stick it to China. Let's stick it to something that I already don't approve of, in addition to sticking it to the country that's trying to stick it to me. So this person doesn't already.
Mad petty.
This person doesn't already like video games. He's blamed it for multiple issues in the U.S. Mm-hmm. On top of, he wants to hurt China, and that's where a lot of their exports come in from, is from video game parts, and it's only going to hurt the little guys.
Right, it's going to hurt us.
Yes,
because the thing is, like, and I personally, Like, I get why this is a thing, but I don't like it. Like, the fact that when a company's costs increase,
Yeah.
it's kind of just widely accepted. Like, okay, that means that the people who buy their stuff are now going to have to pay more money. Like, we have to shoulder the cost of the fact that some other company is charging that company more to do a thing, rather than the company making a little bit less of a profit. It's like, oh no, we can't have that. The people who we sell to, they're the ones who have to eat that cost.
I
And
mean,
that's just accepted. Why is, like, that's a whole other thing, I feel like.
because and that's accepted in my opinion, because the Robin Hood mentality doesn't exist. It's nice. It doesn't. No one is really taking from the rich and giving to the poor. The people who are making money are going to continue to make money. They're not going to stop making money just because something happened. They're going to build up their bank. And I mean, the rich aren't always the bad guys. That's what I'm talking about, Willis. I know. It sounds weird. I know. My skin is black, and I'm saying that the rich isn't always the bad guys. You know what I mean? I'm not saying.
Explain though, because I'm curious what you mean by that.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, a lot of people expect people with a lot of money and a lot of resources to always donate and give other people breaks. Right? Now, while I agree that they should, I think it's a good thing, and I feel like I would if I was in that position. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like those people with those resources should be obligated to do that, because especially if they've acquired it legally. All right, let's put it that way.
Listen, with great power comes great responsibility. If you live in a world and you have the ability or the know-how to make it better, for not only for you but for everyone else in that world, I feel you have the obligation to, whether that's by money or by knowledge.
And that's a moral conviction, and I agree that they should, but I don't think that they're obligated to.
What's your address?
I'm sorry.
That's actually an interesting dynamic, because I definitely see both sides of that. Like, I can agree, like, sure, you work, you build.
Who have you known longer?
What does that have to do with anything?
That has everything
to do with it. This is a logical conversation.
There's no logic in it.
It for sure makes sense. It makes logical sense to me. Like,
no,
if you have the means to do a thing that can be considered right and just and beneficial to the world, yes, you should have a moral obligation to do that. But like Blue's saying, morals are essentially subjective. It may not be in someone's moral fiber to say, okay, I've worked hard, I've done all this sacrifice myself to build up all this stuff that I have. This person who maybe hasn't done what I've done, for me to then just give them a thing goes against what I feel like is kind of depriving them of their chance to kind of learn for themselves. I get it.
And it shouldn't be forced upon them to make that charitable donation.
Right.
But what if that donation is not taxing video games?
Exactly. Because like at the core of this, it's kind of like, okay, this is like, these are major corporations and major political figures and countries who have beef, and because of their beef, the little people get the short end of the stick. This won't affect the people who are writing the laws, who are paying the things up front, because they just raise the prices and then we pay more. So it's like,
do you think the company that eats that cost, as far as next gen systems go, do you think they're going to be the leader as far as the leading system at that particular time?
Or we're eating that cost.
Well, I mean, let's say Microsoft says, hey, we're going to eat that 25%.
Oh.
Do you think everybody's going to
then say, you know what, there's a good possibility of that, because what you're doing then is introducing a console that is cheaper than your competitors, because if they're passing on that extra fee to the consumer, all we're going to see at the end of the tail is, oh, this is $500 and this is $400. They're kind of the same thing. I'm going to get the $400.
What I mean by is Microsoft is covering that 25% on their own.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Not making a lesser system.
No. That's what I mean. Like
a cheaper.
Let's say all the parts. Let's say
saying
without
that's
the tax.
The talking point.
Exactly.
Okay, I got you.
It would make them look good. But another thing
That's true.
that this brings into focus is most of these aren't all, domestic. These aren't all domestic or local, domestic or international, companies, right?
Yeah, okay.
Sony and Nintendo are in Japan. They have American branches, so that's anything that's coming into America from Chinese factories. Same thing with Microsoft, who's an American-based company.
Yeah,
But they have, their parts coming from outside the country. The purpose of this is essentially to try and tell people stop using China because it's going to cost you more. Bring that manufacturing to America and maybe make some American jobs. I mean, there is something to that. But let's look at Google, who is about to enter this generation without a console. This won't affect them in the same way. Like, maybe the controllers that they're going to start selling will have some Chinese parts, but that's going to be a way, like, it was already going to be the cheapest entry point to gaming. If this separates that even more, this is kind of a shot in Google's back for the next generation, for them to kind of get a foothold, because people will be like, I'm not paying $600, $700 for these next-gen consoles. I'll just pay $80 to get the Google controller and then sign up for Google Stadia.
And I think that's going to work to a certain extent. So, like, people are going to get, example, Switch.
Okay.
I got the Switch for Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is the reason why I got a Switch.
Mhm.
So, essentially, I paid $300 for a system that I wanted for one game.
Right.
PlayStation. I got PlayStation.
I hate when you say it like that.
I got PlayStation 4, the exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
God of War. Stuff that only comes on PlayStation. So I paid $500 just for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If they announce Phantasy Star Online 2 for Xbox DOS, and it's $700, guess what? I'm getting that motherfucker.
You buying $700?
I will.
So you're still saying, well, that's kind of the heart of it too, because game consumers, we're saying, all right, well, we don't have a choice. If we want to get what we want, we're gonna eat that cost. I think the companies know that, which is why they get away with, not taking that internally. Because honestly, they're gonna get what, half $500 million less in revenue than the 20 that they raked in. They don't need that money.
No.
Like, what are they going to do with that money other than...
Just because they don't need it doesn't mean they don't have a right to... Exactly. One, it doesn't mean that they don't want it. And two, it doesn't mean that they don't have a right to try and acquire it.
And let's make this clear. They're not doing this tariff to bring American jobs to the U.S. They're doing it to force China to certain terms
renegotiate
that are favorable to them.
Right.
And they know one of their major incomes come from video game parts. And like I said, if that was to bring more jobs to America, then there's a lot of things that we get from different places that should be...
Yeah, and we shouldn't be targeting
just
the
like,
game industry.
what was that? And this is a little off topic, but what was that? Amazon paid no taxes last year?
Right.
Yeah, I heard about that.
How does that help the
I
economy?
was like, what? Yo, I get all kinds of calls if I miss a cell phone payment.
Like,
you know
Jesus
what I'm
Christ,
saying?
Yeah, that. You're right, yeah.
So from the same person who's making these tariffs to say, oh, I'm doing it to bring it over here, he was already hitting us on the back end with these tax breaks from these billion-dollar corporations.
So, I mean, honestly, like, as a consumer, like, I feel stuck because there's literally nothing I can perceive to do that will alleviate, like, if it does go through and all the consoles are 25% more expensive, like, to kind of do the work I do to enjoy the things I enjoy, I'm going to be forced to just pay 25% more.
You got to work harder.
And that just sucks. It just sucks.
Yeah,
It does.
let's just hope it doesn't come to that. Let's hope that our next gen systems come out with our next gen president.
I mean,
I like the bow tie on that.
Thank you.
I think that was very well said, Jeff.
With that, we're gonna move on to the next world-shattering event in video games. Essentially, the World Health Organization has now officially recognized gaming disorder as an illness. So
they've talked about this for years, by the way.
Right. This has kind of been an ongoing debate, but as of 2022, they're going to update the DSI?
Yeah.
They're going to update, their index of worldwide recognized illnesses with gaming disorders. So how does that make you guys feel? As avid gamers?
It makes me feel like when I was a kid, people weren't sensitive when they called me a game freak. And they just didn't understand that I was sick. Just because I played, I've played tons of GoldenEye, or I played Kid Chameleon for I don't know, 16 hours straight.
Did you actually do that?
I had an issue.
Did you actually do that? Because you might have an issue. I did that with a video game. That sounds like gaming disorder.
It worked itself out, though, to the point where I only played maybe sometimes 2-3 hours a day. But as a kid, I played excessively. Okay. And I think that it depends on the effect that this is having on the person.
Right, and they actually define it.
Oh, they do. That is in there. Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up.
But do you want me to read? You want me to read
it?
Yeah,
read how they define.
Can you put up some subtitles?
Yeah, I could do that. A pattern of persistent or recurrent gaming behavior, digital gaming or video gaming, which may be online or offline, manifested by 1. Impaired control over gaming. Onset, frequency, intensity, duration, termination, and context.
Sounds
right?
Like Jeff.
2. Increasing priority given to gaming to the extent that gaming takes precedence over other life interests and daily activities.
And that can be applied to anything that you have an addiction to.
Anything. All right. Okay. 3. Continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequences. The behavior pattern is of sufficient severity to result in significant impairment in personal, family, social, educational, occupational, and other important areas of functioning.
So, if I was told that if I continued to play that game and didn't wash the dishes, that I was gonna get that spanking, and I just did not wash those dishes, I needed to finish playing Vector Man.
You fall under this category, yes.
I would fall under that category.
I feel like I need to update my medical records in the veteran department, because I used gaming to help cope with some of the stress when I was in the Navy. You know what I mean? And I still play games because I
do it all the time. Yeah,
I still have a healthy lifestyle, but according to this, I'm sick. So let me get some more medical.
Yeah. Well, when I'd come home from work sometimes, and I'd want to put hands on people. I'd come in and play a bunch of rounds in the Crucible, and I felt like it was better killing people virtually than in the real world.
Stress reliever, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're mocking this.
Yes, but it's a serious issue.
Yeah, but
some people lose
honest,
their jobs, their homes.
Yeah, because you've heard those kind of stories, especially in those cyber cafes in Asia. There are parents who will spend hours and hours away from their child who's been left alone in a house to go play games in the cyber cafe until the child dies. That's a real thing. So, what the ESA was saying, the Electronic Software Association, the guys who run E3 or whatever, they're lobbyists for the gaming industry.
Yeah,
they've been trying to fight against this. The argument they were trying to make was that classifying this as a gaming disorder kind of harping in on gamers. Well, of course it does, but what they're saying is it underlines the bigger issue of just general, mental illness. Yeah, addiction, etc. Because you can be addicted to anything, like we discussed.
Anything.
It didn't need to be, StarCraft or whatever. It could have been gambling. It could have been poker games,
alcohol,
drugs. Well, I mean, maybe not drugs and alcohol because those actually have a physical effect on the body. Like this
Magic
is more.
cards.
This is more. Yeah, exactly. This is more of a mental thing. So they're saying it kind of takes away from the seriousness of those other disorders and tries to shift the blame onto just video games. And it's like I can see that argument too, but yeah, I'm kind of two minds.
I feel like we already know those other instances are severe. People don't take video game addiction as something is being serious. So I feel like the argument was more so to say, hey, let's not make video games a form of illness as far as addiction because they didn't want that negative spotlight. I feel like for it to say they don't want to take away from the other things, we already know those other things are not good things. You know what I mean? You already know that they're issues. But once again, like I said, a lot of people don't know that being addicted to video games is an addiction. Sometimes it's not a choice. So that person isn't not just going to work; they're just playing video games all day. They could literally be, have separation anxiety from their controller to the point where they don't want to go anywhere.
But so you find it valuable to label that as gaming addiction versus just addiction.
Yeah, it helps to help not only identify it for people who might have that problem, and for those who want to help, but it also makes it serious and not something that people can make light of. Hey, no, you can get up and go to work. Why can't you? I mean, there's nothing wrong with you. You just put the video game down. That person might
might be a little bit heavier.
Yeah, might lose their stuff if they, if they leave the house.
Right.
They might have a mental breakdown. You just never know. So I think it's a good thing. I don't think it takes away from or puts a negative spotlight on video games in general.
Okay.
I think because of the name of it, it definitely puts a negative spotlight on the gaming industry. Like, I mean, I feel like just kind of like what we said before, you can get addicted to multiple different things, right? I don't think that this is something to be laughed at, but I feel like it comes down to personal responsibility and how we raise our children in this tech world. Sometimes you turn it off and you gotta do something else.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the same thing with phones.
You know what I mean?
Phones. Cell
and
phones,
people can be addicted to social media where they get anxiety when they're not able to check, their Facebook or their Twitter or their Instagram, etc.
Now it comes down to how detrimental is that on a personal level on a regular basis.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And again, like that could apply to multiple things versus just gaming. So it makes sense to me what Jeff is saying, where okay, if it's a gambling addiction, you want to make sure this guy has a gambling problem. You don't want that guy to go to the casino with you. You don't want that guy to to go to a card game or a racetrack or something. So
I didn't think about that either.
Yeah, so gaming disorder, layman
You're not bringing this boy to an arcade.
Disorder. Yeah, it's like okay, these are things that we know this guy is going to be problematic. Is going to be problematic for that person. But in that way, I don't think these instances where people are addicted to games are ever that general. They always tend to be more specific.
Extreme cases.
Yeah, it's like it's never this person does these like they exhibit well, I'm not a doctor. So
of course.
But if anytime I've heard these kind of stories, it's never like, oh, this person plays all sorts of different games and then can't bring themselves away from things. It's always they become addicted to something specific.
World of Warcraft.
Yeah, World of Warcraft. I went to college with a guy who ended up getting a 0.0 GPA because all he did in the dorm was play World of Warcraft.
Jeez.
So I've seen it firsthand. And that guy, he played Halo with us when we would play Halo 2 and LAN stuff, whatever. But that's not what he was addicted to. He wasn't addicted to gaming. He was addicted to World of Warcraft.
And see, that's the addictive behavior and the personal responsibility I was talking about and how we're raised in this tech world, right? Because he didn't just start playing World of Warcraft when he started college.
Right.
Before that, at one point, his parents were supporting him. I highly doubt.
They would have had to be.
I highly doubt that he made money when he was super young and was buying his World of Warcraft account and his, his parents enabled that to a certain degree. I'm not saying it's all their fault by any means, but there was enabling going on, and it was left unchecked. You know what I mean?
And that's what
And it
happens
developed into that addiction.
So I
No,
do.
I agree.
Go ahead.
Like you said, now it'll be more serious where parents will be like, not, oh, he's just playing video games. He's not outside doing anything crazy. He's just playing video games for hours. Now he's been playing video games for hours. We need to get him off to do something else.
Man, my parents have been doing that with the belt for a long time.
They
I'm gonna
just
be completely honest.
they used to spank you upon the arse.
Hey, man. First of all, Jamaicans don't talk like that.
Like you halfway turned into like a leprechaun at the end of that.
It's my pot of gold.
Oh my god. Okay, so that was actually our last topic. Definitely sound off in the comments. These are actually very big issues in gaming. Let us know your opinions on them. But we're gonna get out of here. That was episode 3. Thank you guys again for joining me to have this discussion and doing this games cast. Blue, do you want to plug anything? Let us know where people can find you.
Yeah, man. My name is Blue Bones, BLUB0NES. My friends call me Blue, and you can too. It's your boy. That's right. You can find me on Mixer, mixer.com/BlueBonesXB, BLUB0NESXB as an Xbox. You can also see me on Facebook at Play with Blue Bones, same spelling. I put out a couple articles and stuff like that I find interesting. Some of them you're going to see us talk about on the next Games Cast. So if you want to kind of keep up with our topics and join the discussion, definitely check that out.
Definitely.
Yeah, and you get to kind of see some of the stuff we do behind the scenes. So yeah, you can find me there, and that's basically it for me. And obviously the YouTube, I'm going to be putting some stuff up on YouTube really soon on our consolidated channel.
Yep, BBET Gaming.
That's right.
How about you? Where can people find you?
Hey, find me up on Xbox. It's SupermanJeff12. Feel free to add me anytime. On Facebook, it's SupermanJeff Plays. Mm-hmm. And on Mixer, it's mixer.com/SupermanJeff12. Definitely message us. We're going to be putting together a couple backfillers for our raid team for the division. So if you play the division, definitely message us. In general, if you play anything that you see on our weekly schedule, feel free to message us.
Let us know.
Exactly. We always invite the audience to play. Sometimes we do special requests for different games that we might pick up to invite everybody to. And like the guy said, we're going to be uploading some stuff to the YouTube channel. My next thing is to do a couple of builds for people who want to kind of see how they should be building for the raid. I think that's going to help us get past that first boss. So definitely check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and on Mixer.
That boss is something else.
Now, over to Sigma.
Big Sigma.
Thanks. You guys can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, on Xbox, on PSN at SigmaGears9. You can find me on Facebook at Sigma and Sun. And of course the YouTube, BBET Gaming. Also check Gameumentary on YouTube. That's where I do my reviews. I work for that YouTube channel that does video game documentaries. They have really good stuff on there, so I encourage you go and subscribe, watch my stuff, but also watch the other stuff that's on that channel because it's actually
big up. It's a great channel. Great channel.
But that's pretty much it for tonight. Again, thanks everybody for listening. Thank you guys for participating. That's episode 3. Peace. We're out.
Deuces.
At least I'm woke and I'm a beast, at least I know. Whoa. Trying to get rid of me, but I am the epitome of acidity. Like a spider in every city beat. I had a dream and I seen just